So in this video, I will be breaking down what's going on in the crypto markets using an astrological perspective and tying cryptocurrency to astrological transits. And then we're going to be forecasting what's going to happen next towards the end. Now, keep in mind that this video is not financial advice. Always be sure to make responsible decisions and come to your own conclusions. And if anything, just use this as confirmation or perhaps even just a different perspective that you may disagree with or agree with. It's really not meant to be, financial advice. It's just what I'm thinking. It's just my sentiment and my opinion. But in this video, we're going to be focusing on the chart of Bitcoin because all the cryptos tend to follow the movements of Bitcoin. When Bitcoin is going down, the altcoins all tend to follow. And when Bitcoin is increasing, the altcoins tend to increase at around the same time. And they increase to an even greater extent. So there's more money to be made in altcoins. But if we look at what's happening with the Bitcoin chart, we can really tie what's really going on to astrology. And that's what this video is about. And in this video, we're going to be talking about Venus, which is the planet of wealth. And, this is a chart showing where we're at right now. And this was when Venus entered Capricorn, the sign of pessimism, restrictions, limitations, and it's all about tradition. And, Venus being about wealth, it showed that wealth was exiting crypto and moving towards more traditional formats, fiat currency especially. But generally speaking, this whole period where Venus has been in Capricorn has been a period of, financial loss or financial pessimism. And, even traditional markets, the stock market, have been suffering a lot. And this is due to Venus entering Capricorn, the sign of restrictions and pessimism. And this happened on November 5th, 2021. And we can see on this chart, that basically I was put it one day early, but this is around that period. And since then, we've just been in a period of decline, especially in crypto, because money has been moving towards traditional forms, as indicated by Venus being in Capricorn. So that explains the downward movement. Before Venus was in Capricorn, it was in Sagittarius. And this happened right here on October 7th, so about a month earlier. And Sagittarius was all about optimism. It's all about taking risks and being and gambling, being more greedy with your money. So during that time when Venus was in Sagittarius, it showed that people were feeling more financially risky, more financially optimistic, especially regarding cryptocurrencies. And that's due to other placements that we'll talk about, in another video or perhaps later in this video. But as we can tell, from that period on, the price ran up. And that's due to greed entering the market. And, this is a more zoomed out view of that period of time. And you may be wondering why did the run start before Venus entered Sagittarius? Why did this increase happen a little bit before? And that's because any financial analyst would tell you, greed enters the market after the price starts to make big moves. That's when people start to pay attention. And that's when people start to put in their money and flow in. And that was indicated after this big move when Venus entered Sagittarius, which is all about optimism, greed, and taking risks. And as we can tell, more people entered and there was an increase in price. And so this is just a chart of when Venus entered Sagittarius on the 7th of October. And we can see that the sign Capricorn was on the ascendant. And as we were explaining before, Capricorn is all about limits. And it's ruled by Saturn, which is this planet here. And Saturn was retrograde at the time. Retrograde is about a reverse motion. It's all about return. So what it showed us is that the price of Bitcoin at this time would return to a previous limit. And as we can tell with this Venus and Sagittarius period, that's exactly what happened. It returned to the previous limit. And Saturn and the sign Capricorn are all about limits, all about restriction. And at this time, people were feeling very optimistic, and there were projections that Bitcoin could go to over 100,000. Some analysts believed it would go to 144,000. Others believe it could hit up to 90,000 or 85,000. Especially with the 4-year cycle theory, the stock to flow theory, which is that Bitcoin was in a bull run at this time and that it should continue to a new all-time high. So a lot of people were believing that. And the truth was we were going to hit a limit. And, astrology shows us things like this in advance. Now, with that being said, later after we first hit that limit, that's when Venus entered Capricorn. And as we can tell, we tested it one more time. We had some residual optimism, but that time we got rejected very hard. We went down. And that's the period that we've been in now. Now, any financial person or even an expert will tell you, you want to buy low. You don't want to buy high. You want to buy when prices are relatively low. And you want to sell when things are high. So given the knowledge that we have right now, and before I go to the next slide, we'll finish this thought. Given the knowledge that we have right now, this video, we're going to cover whether this could be the bottom. Whether, February 24th, 2022, whether that could have been the bottom. And let me try to pull up that point. This right here. And we're going to talk about where Venus is going next, which is Aquarius, which is all about technology, innovation, and the internet. So wealth will be flowing towards technologies, especially financial technologies. And we'll talk about that next. But, I want to cover one last thing, which is this is the chart of when Venus entered Capricorn on that, that date right here. And we can see that the constellation that was rising at 10:44 Universal Time on November 5th was Capricorn, which is all about limitations again. So again, this was a double confirmation that we're going to hit a limit. And sure enough, we hit the limit again. We crossed above. We broke just a little bit higher, which was, some residual optimism, leftover optimism, people really having hope that it could go higher. But we got rejected. And more specifically, more importantly, we had the planet Pluto directly on the ascendant or directly rising. And, planets on the ascendant are very important. And Pluto is all about debt. It's all about destruction. So this period of Venus being in Capricorn has been a period of financial destruction, financial decline, a lot of debt as well. And, Saturn, which is the ruler of Capricorn, is all about pessimism. So that's why we've been in this downward movement ever since then. And this arrow starts about on um, November 5th, which was the period that Venus entered Capricorn. And the reason why we've had such significant decline is because at this time, people were taking debt, taking credit, buying cryptos with their greed, out of greed. And what happens is that, what do we know about debt? You got to pay it back. So a lot of people that were borrowing cryptos essentially were getting liquidated, especially when it started going below this period of greed and of gambling. This was when Venus was in Sagittarius. And what did I say about Sagittarius? It's all about gambling in astrology. It rules gambling. So like at this time, there was an increased amount of debt being taken, a lot of gambling, a lot of people taking financial risk. And notice that as soon as Bitcoin crossed that price, a lot of people got liquidated, a lot of people got sold, and it's just been wrecking everybody as a result. Debt is not a good thing for the markets to be built off of. And, Venus in Capricorn showed debt. So with that being said, what could the future be now? Because Venus is actually exiting Capricorn and it's entering Aquarius, which is the sign of progress. So this is all about financial progress, financial innovation, financial technology. And it's entering Aquarius on March 6th. So could this have been the bottom? And this is March 6th. This is when Venus enters Aquarius. And again, this is not financial advice, but if we believe, a good time to buy is the bottom, and if we are fairly certain that a price is the bottom, then we can capitalize off of that. And, just to finish off this video, this is the chart of when Venus enters Aquarius on March 6th. This is where the planets will be. And the sign that's rising is Pisces. And Pisces is all about possibilities. And it's ruled by Jupiter, which is all about optimism. And Pisces is all about the infinite. So there's really infinite potential for when Venus moves into Aquarius regarding cryptocurrencies and financial technology. That's what astrology indicates. And, in my personal thesis for myself, I believe it's a good time to be buying in. If you don't already have any. But again, this is not financial advice. That's just my opinion. So this is something that you can disagree with. And maybe you have information that contradicts my beliefs. So with that being said, that really wraps up this video. And the question is, could this have been the bottom? Because now Venus is exiting Capricorn pretty soon. It's exiting the sign of restrictions, financial pessimism, and we're seeing the sign of optimism rising when Venus enters Aquarius. And Aquarius is all about technology. And we have the ruler of Aquarius being in Taurus, which is about finances. And the ruler of Aquarius is Uranus, which is all about innovation, progress, change. And it's been in Taurus since 2019. It's a very slow-moving planet. And if you guys aren't aware, if you had put money in crypto in 2019 in any of the top 100 coins, you would be up several times from that point. For some coins, you'd be up hundreds of times what you put in. And this is just because astrology is showing us, this is generally a good period to start dabbling in financial technologies and cryptocurrencies. We also have the North Node just entering Taurus. So this is going to be a very powerful period. This year of 2022 and 2023 is going to show a massive shift towards new financial technologies. And even without, using astrology, we all have been experiencing this. We've all heard the gossip. We all talk about it. We all are aware of the potential of these technologies. Now there are risks. It fluctuates. So you don't want to make irresponsible decisions, and you don't want to play to get rich overnight. You want to play for the long term when it comes to investing. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, then don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. In the next video, we're going to be talking about what could happen in terms of, the next several months in more depth when, Venus enters Aquarius and also when it goes into Pisces. Because Bitcoin is going to be having its Venus return pretty soon. So if that interests you, definitely stay tuned. And other than that, I'll see you guys sometime soon in another video. Peace.